How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Factorio. Hope you guys have been enjoying the series so far. If you guys have, you guys know, do smash the like button if you haven't done so already. With that, let's get into the episode. So, we're still on Aquilo, trying to hammer out the rest of these train stations. It is proving a little bit more difficult because we have to be a little bit more hands-on than we do with, say, a train station on like Novice or really any of the other planets. Mainly because we can't just plop it down, build it out, and then it just works. We have to make sure we have enough trains, mainly here with the fuel. And I also had to spend a good deal of time making sure that this secondary system here for fuel, that is a dedicated line to make sure that these trains are staying full or topping them off as they are needed, is a very big importance. And then here with the oil train, thankfully this has been flowing pretty well. However, we are slowly losing oil. It is currently in a net negative cycle. Trying to get more trains and things set up. Actually, let me see if I set it to that. Will that work? I think it will. Oh yeah, that should get us another train flowing for oil at least. And then I'm trying to get more lithium brine because I know we're going to need more lithium brine. And then the other thing we have to start looking at is getting the rocket fuel set up, which I know we've had sitting there for quite some time. But again, it's all in this endeavor here to get as many foundations as we possibly can, and we're slowly getting there. One of the big things, right, is making sure we have stone. So this guy has unloaded all of its stone, so let's send it to Volcanus, pick up whatever stone we can. We don't need pipe. So that's just one of those little things, right, is to make sure we have those resources that we're needing. I think the next planet we're going to have to tackle before we even actually get to Aquilo, because Aquilo, let me remind you, we're going to need probably close to 50,000 to 100,000 foundations to fully build out and flatten this area so we can really get a ton. Now, if we wanted to go min-max, so to speak, what we could do is we could literally just place the blueprints and let the robots only use the foundations that they absolutely need for these things to be built. So like areas like this, that right there is 16 foundations we wouldn't need. And then, of course, there's sections like this where that's another 21. So, you know, you multiply that accordingly, you're probably going to save several thousand foundations doing that, which, again, if you're trying to min-max, speedrun, whatever, however you want to phrase it, then sure, that's going to be the way. But we are probably going to need to go here to Gleba at some point because we just need more carbon fiber, but we are restricted by how much we are producing. This machine, well, it does produce, it's not even at 100% uptime. We are not getting enough Yamco mash. Part of that is just because the system here is not designed for near infinite scaling of that nature. So what we're probably gonna have to do is look at upgrading these machines with faster modules, of course, like faster speed modules, which will yield a higher output, but also looking at just turning it into things that don't expire, such as carbon fiber. It doesn't have an expiration. Same thing with plastic. Same thing with rocket fuel, right? These are the things we want to produce. Like if we can produce it here, let's produce it here. Let's use the local production. Now, if there is a more efficient way, such as plastic, like this, super efficient. Like again, I've went over this before, but like you're getting so much plastic for so little input, as well as time it takes to get this plastic. Like one machine here is getting 4.5. If we look at the normal, where is it? The normal plastic recipe, you're getting two plastic in 1 second. This is getting us 4.5 in a second. So we're over double for the same machine, essentially, in terms of that. Rocket fuel, again, that's going to be one of those things we're probably going to make on Fulgora, mass produce, and ship it out. And then, of course, this planet still has tons of things that it's missing. We're missing 2 silos still. Rocket fuel is really the bottleneck there, but that's one of those things that we're looking to try to remedy, right? So let me go ahead and grab, I needed train tracks, which we imported more of, and then I need more concrete. So let's grab, we need more than 500. We don't need, I think, really any more of that. So let's pick up, yeah, that should be fine. So right now I'm just trying to get all these trains functioning because I think once we have them fully functioning properly, we should be in a much better position in terms of resource gathering here on Aquilo. And then I think we'll turn our sights to getting, whatchamacallit, in a much better position. Oh, let me, while I catch this train, to get this stop functioning. There we go, because then this should generate enough heat that I'm hoping. There we go. Because we can empty this very quickly. let's see. And almost empty, which is really good. So, and we already have another train going to make sure we have enough heat. And it's going to take a while for the heat to trickle throughout that system anyway. So for that propagation, that is perfectly fine there. And then here we're going to get everything placed down. Let's go ahead and get some heat pipe onto that. And then I would say probably the biggest thing is... yeah, that guy is just going to have to wait to propagate all the way up and around. It looks like it is very slowly doing that. Let's make sure we get this done so that way the train can actually go back and pick up more fuel. Oh, come on, robots. Not really sure why, yeah. I mean, in a case like that, it's weird because it won't place it until the one prior to it's placed, even though the one after it is already there, which is a bit weird, but whatever. Heat, yep, already has the train limit, perfect. And these are both lithium. We are going to enable a train limit of 2. Now, the problem here is, of course, if each of these has 2 trains limited, but because we have essentially 3 extra storage bays here with how it's set up. So, for instance, if you look at the blocks, we can put some extra ones in, and I'm actually going to block it off correctly because I just saw that. So, essentially what we can do is we have 7 total. Okay, robots are doing their thing, and then let's get these things set up. So, most of these are going to be coming down. Let's start at the furthest one and work our way closer. Yeah. So we'll do something like that, and then let's get some heat pipe. Bring it all the way up, all the way down. And then something like that. Okay. And then what we can do is we can branch as needed. Something like this. And that heats both of those. And then for any of these that we have, ones that are like above the pipe, we can bring it down. And then bring something like this. Then of course we run into this tile where everything's going to be heated but this tile. Even if we put a heat pipe here, only those get heated, so that one won't get heated. So then in a case like this, what I would do is attach it to this one, because there's space for me to do that. Because then what I can do is I can bring this like so, and everything gets heated. So that allows us to clean this all back up, and like that. Okay, so those 4 are all connected. And then let's get these guys hooked up. Let's see where they connect. Looks like there. Okay. And then we can go like that. Like that. Everything should be heated there. Oh, not what I wanted. I wanted this. So these are one of those setups where it's a bit annoying. Like, I'm sure there is like a optimal like way of doing this so that you use the least amount of pipe and the least amount of heating, so that you efficiently have everything heated, but you also then keep the amount of stuff that you actually are needing for each of them to a minimum. But honestly, this is kind of the case of I'm okay with spending a little bit more. Make sure that everything just works, honestly. Okay, so then this guy probably connect to that one. Sure, guess we can do that. Again, grab pipe, grab pipe. That connects to that, that connects to that. Everybody should be good. And then as we wait for heat to propagate, we're going to have a good amount of lithium brine. Now it is going to take a moment because these guys, I believe, do have internal buffers of 400 or so. Where is all the lithium brine going? Is it really just like a fraction of a fraction? Probably. No, yeah, it is. Okay, it is filling the internal buffers. I'm like, it's adding up, or at least it should be. And then once it propagates through this system, I believe it's going, once there's enough pressure, air quotes pressure, because the system doesn't work like that anymore. Fluids don't like slosh around. It's instantaneous transfer, more or less. Yeah, so now they're stabilizing and things should start functioning a little bit better there. Then heat will slowly drip all the way out to the edges, and so then this, in theory, should produce, let's see, 11. Use our handy dandy in-game calculator. 1.6. So we're gonna get 17.6 lithium brine a second out of here. Ideally, though, we throw in speed modules on all of these, so we can get more. That, of course, is going to double our output, so we're going to go from 11.16, right, originally 17, multiply it by 2, we're going to get 35.2 per second, which still not really enough, because if you look at our consumption of it, which actually we can look at here for fluids, let's go after a minute. We consume, currently none apparently, 510. So it looks like now we're able to produce more than we're actually consuming, but the main point of consumption is going to be here for the lithium. I believe it's also used somewhere else. Maybe not. One of my favorite features I didn't realize was the pipelines, because they're actually multicolored, which is really cool. It starts to look like a circuit board and how it's arranged. Like, yeah, your stuff can get very messy when you're looking at it, so like turning off recipes to then see, okay, like where are the traces going? It's going here. Where are these traces? So I think it's a nice system for sure to be able to see kind of what's where, but that having everything turned on, like if you had literally gun turrets, pollution, like everything turned on, I think your map is going to get very chaotic, and you can kind of see it lag a little bit when you toggle these, when you have a lot of stuff going on. It doesn't help that I'm also recording and you know, just doing other things in general, but that is one thing to kind of note. Because these guys consume 25 per second, and we have, how many? 8? So we're consuming 200 per second. So we need 200 lithium brine per second to be produced. There's still a few nodes, it looks like 2 nodes here that we can tap for production. These guys, of course, are producing 9 times 3.2, so barely able to feed 1. And this depot is only really going to be able to feed potentially 1 of those machines as well, which, again, that's assuming we put these on, which is insane. So we're going to need, really, we're going to need essentially 1 train depot per machine, so we're probably going to have to tap at least 1, 2, 3, 4, plus the one we already have, which is 5, 6. Yeah. So we're going to need quite a few, I think, to keep the lithium right now. I don't know if we're actually consuming that much lithium for it to make sense for us to have to necessarily worry about that. Now, I do see we have lithium coming up over here, going to here, going into this thing, which that thing consumes lithium, but that's not really that bad. The big thing is these, because each of these consume 0.8, and we have, how many? 14 times 0.8. Right, so it consumes 11.2 per second of the ore, and we're producing, oh, yeah, we need, really, we have more than enough production here of this. Actually, that's more than we need. I don't know how I calculated that, unless we're missing some furnaces. I'd have to look back at the calculator for things. But we are getting a good number of foundations. I think the next part is going to be over here, making sure that we have enough ammonia and water and solid fuel. But to do that, we're going to have to expand up here to make sure that the system is capable of that. We'll probably just double it because we have the space. We'll probably throw some of that up here. And that will make sure that we have enough things. And we could probably... I don't know if I want to siphon from up here, because I do want to make sure that trains have enough fuel so that they never stop. I want to make sure that the rockets have heat, so those also never stop. So we'll probably build another one of these right here, which will feed rocket fuel here to make sure the rockets can continuously take off. Low-density structures, surprisingly, the thing we don't have enough of right now, which is a bit odd. Let me grab... Let's see, nuclear fuel, I think, is... got capacity, right? Probably. Let's send it to novice. How much space do we have on it? Oh, we're good. We have 50% space. So let's go. Oh, not rocket fuel. Fulgora has LDS. Did we ever build that on Volcanus? I think we did, right? What on suit structure? Yeah, we did. So how much do we have here? 20,000. Okay, so then this guy can actually go. Not this one. This one. Go to Volcanus, please. We're gonna remove that condition. Just passenger present, passenger not. Nope. Passenger present, passenger not present. That just keeps it there so that it doesn't just keep traveling to all the other planets, because it's a pain to just have to keep adding them, in case anybody's wondering why I have it set up that way. Okay, so these guys are all going. So let's grab better modules. I think we have T3. And we'll go put them around. I know the argument, I think, for the different, whatchamacallits, are if you use something that has an infinite resource, productivity is better because then you don't degrade the percentage as quickly, where speed just degrades the percentage. But I think in the case of like lithium brine, where it's literally a finite resource, I think having it set up so that you are just draining it is better. But I'm not 100% sure. What is your guys' take on it? I'll probably try to look it up after this, but would it be better to run productivity modules and or beacon these things to get as much as we can squeeze out of them? Or would it make sense in a scenario for us to just keep what we have, consequences be damned? I don't know, let me know down below what you guys will typically do, either as just a blanket policy, like, oh, you just throw speed modules like I do in pretty much everything and call it good, and then when you need more, you just get more. Or do you effectively go, okay, I have this resource that is finite, that's in a pump jack, so let me go ahead and use productivity on it so that I can get more out of it? Or do you just do speed because it's finite, like you would with ore? I'm also, excuse me, I'm also wondering if, actually a bit surprised, because we got upgrades to pretty much everything in the game, right? There's a better science lab, there's a better assembler, so to speak, there's a better chem plant, there's a unique plant here for things, there's a better mining drill, there's a better smelter, there's basically a better version of everything, power even. But the one thing I feel like we didn't get a better version of is pump jacks, which, I mean, I know we do get, we look here, like pump jacks do get resource drain, so like a legendary one obviously is only going to drain 16% of the resources, so it allows you to deplete the resources very, 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 very slow. Like, you go from normal, which is 100%, like it's going to drain 100% down to 16%. Like, that's crazy. You're just sipping on the resource. Like, the drop, even from normal to rare, which is basically what we're using in a lot of areas, is very, very low. and we're actually using Epic. So we are draining 50%. So we're essentially getting 50% more resources on the plot. Now, the one thing I don't like is the mining speed never increases. Like here with the mining drill, I mean, I guess it's not a variable there either, so I can't complain in that regard because it's not a stat that is modified by equality. I mean, the resource drain part is, but the actual mining speed isn't, nor is the mining area. I think that would be interesting. I'm sure there's mods because the way that this is clearly set up is these are all variables that can be modified by different things, which I like that they set it up in such a way that makes it very easy for mod creators to go in and change these stats accordingly. But I do wish we could have gotten a new pump jack maybe, especially for a planet like Flagora. I feel like that was a pretty good opportunity. Or even here on Aquilo, actually. I feel like Aquilo could have been a perfect example of, hey, we're going to give you a pump jack. But maybe the reason that we didn't get that is, I don't know. I don't know why we didn't get it. I do feel, though, that this planet, with how many things you have to use a pump jack on, I feel like it's a missed opportunity to have a better pump jack. Like an actual oil rig or something. Because we have, what, a lithium brine, you have fluorine gas, you have oil, actually. Yeah, oil. So there's 3 just here on the planet. Plus, if you count the offshore stuff, I think that'd be interesting to do instead of using like an offshore pump or a pump jack. If there was like an oil rig or like a gas extractor maybe or something, even that, like a liquid extractor. I don't know, something that you could place both on land or at sea, like in the case of this planet where the sea is literally a resource. That has obviously bigger extraction, and maybe if you place a building down and you can either place modules onto it so that it, say, can tap 3 or 4 nodes if it's close enough to all of them at, you know, a higher extraction rate. It just seems weird to me that we didn't get anything like that, but I'll use what we have. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Smash the like button if you haven't done so already, and I hope you guys learned something. And as always, have a good one, and until next time, peace out.